Hi there everyone, welcome to another video blog from thrivehealth.tv. It's Paul here again. Just reading an article today in the Metro in London. Come across a very interesting article called Hormones, a Weighty Issue. Reading it with interest and some good information in there, some not so good. But I just wanted to clear a few things up for those of you that might have read the article, some of you that may be about to take the advice in there, or just general information for the rest of you that may not have seen it. What it's suggesting is basically that there's a cortisol is a hormone that may be responsible for either increasing body fat or being unable to lose that excess body fat that you may have. It goes on to explain a little bit about what it does, which I'll do in a second. Also goes on to explain how you can try and use food and diet to balance the release of cortisol. So I'm going to have a look at that in a second. Also goes on to look at thyroid hormones, again, what they do and why they may be responsible for that excess body fat. So I'm going to try and tie that all together, give you a few more references, and obviously, as usual, be available for any comments, any questions. Effectively known as the stress hormone. So it's the hormone that becomes active, becomes released when we're in a stressful situation, like a fight or flight sort of situation. It's made in the adrenal glands. The adrenal glands sit on top of your kidneys. It's kind of two glands in one. So you have the adrenal medulla and the adrenal cortex. The medulla is responsible for that fight, flight mode, prepares the body for action, and stimulates the master gland, the hypothalamus, to release something called ACTH. Doesn't really matter too much in the big scheme of things, but let's carry on. The cortex, the adrenal cortex, responds to this release of ACTH. It increases the level of cortisol, it mobilizes your energy, and that's essentially what's required. So when you're in a stressful situation, you get that fight or flight, that adrenaline response, that's what's going on. We need to understand is that it's all about balance. So what you would normally find in prehistoric times, when we're being chased by that saber-toothed tiger or whatever it might be, that we have that moment of energy mobilization, we have that moment of stress response, but then we either fight, hopefully we kill the animal, or we run away and escape and hide. After that happens, then we have that period of downtime where we can relax, and then the cortisol is reduced. So the problem is that, or the function of cortisol, by the way, what ends up happening is because we're actually trying to mobilize energy, it's releasing glucose into our system. So it's effectively giving us some energy, some very quick energy, some sugar that we can use to run away or fight that animal. Okay. Now, the problem with kind of modern day society is that we're all kind of under a lot of stress. So we have stress from family life, we have stress from the job, we have stress from financial worries, the kids, making the car payments, all that kind of thing. We also have stress from any physiological conditions that we may have. So if you've got backache, if you wake up with neck ache, if you wake up with aches and pains, if you had more chronic conditions like long-term back problems, things like that over the years, that's effectively a stress response as well. There are also other things such as dietary sources of stress. So we've got things such as if you happen to be eating a diet that's not really right for your metabolic type, if you're eating foods that you're intolerant to, which actually causes an immune response. Okay, so those are a couple of dietary factors. There are also other internal factors, internal stresses as well. So you may be, you may have a chronic kind of parasitic infestation, bacterial infection, yeast infection, any of these kind of things, and you may not know it, of course. So that's a chronic condition that may be there for a few years, and the body's leading to a chronic stress response because of that. Okay. So all of these things can relate to increased cortisol production, Therefore, there's almost this constant supply of glucose being delivered into the bloodstream, ready for that fight or flight scenario that never really happens, just purely because that's not what we do anymore. What then happens is that something has to happen to that glucose, so therefore it's either going to be burned off if you choose to go for a run or if you choose to go to the gym, or it's going to be stored as body fat. Okay. Oh, also, it increases sodium retention as well. So if you've got excess cortisol, your sodium retention increases, therefore it's one of the markers that's going to increase your blood pressure. So if you have chronic blood pressure, then maybe there's something you want to investigate as well. Okay, so the other points I wanted to address from the article were that it did give some dietary recommendations as to how to balance your cortisol. Now this is what I kind of had an issue with this. So essentially, one of the contributors to the article was suggesting that you eat a relatively high protein mixed with a complex carbohydrate meal and keep eating these meals regularly throughout the day. So the issue I have is that essentially that's just going to lead to more body fat storage. If you're constantly providing glucose to the body, or essentially it's still glucose because even the complex carbohydrates are often very quickly converted into sugar. This is another aspect, another reason why it's important to get your metabolic typing metabolic type tested, evaluated, so that you actually know what foods are going to be most suitable to providing sustained energy through to your body without this excess glucose production that none of us need. There's no such thing as an essential sugar. We don't need sugar in our diet in order to function. The only glands or the only organs that need glucose are our brain and our eyes, and the body can actually extract as much glucose as it needs from our other macronutrients in our diet, so it can use fat and use protein to make these sugars that it needs. So we do not need sugar in the diet. Okay, so that's the major issue that I had with the article. I'm not going to go on too much longer. I will obviously post another video blog a little bit later on in the week, explain a little bit more about cortisol, hopefully a little bit more about stress. But if you've got any questions in the meantime, feel free to let me know. You can email me at admin@thrive-health.tv. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. That's @thrivehealthtv. Or check out my website, which will be hopefully up and running by this Friday. And I'll give you guys some more information on that when I speak to you later in the week. Okay, well, have a great day, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye for now.